The Battlefront Classic Collection is an absolute travesty. This is an abomination. This is embarrassing. This is the worst port I have ever played. I don't think I've been this bored playing a shooter since Hypercharge Unboxed.
I don't really have any nostalgia for the classic Battlefront games. I mean, I did play them, but I barely remember them. And with this in mind, I was really excited to play Battlefront Classic Collection to see the hype with these games. And then I saw that these games are gonna be 50 gigabytes on my SSD and they're 17 years old. I'm sorry, but what?
Why do I need to reserve that kind of space for games that are this old? Apparently there's new game modes, maps, etc. But still, the OGs were like 8 gigabytes altogether. The most that this should be max is 30 gigabytes, and that's still pushing it. Bro, Battlefront 2 EA is 60 gigabytes, and that has all kinds of modes, maps, physics, all that other game shit I know nothing about. So what on God's green earth could Aspyr have possibly added to make this collection 50 gigabytes?
And the game controls are just really weird. I get that it is 17 years old, but Aspyr really couldn't just make some quality of life changes. So I got Battlefront Classic Collection on Steam. So of course, got it on my PC and on my Steam Deck. And I gotta say, dude, mouse and keyboard clears by a mile here. The sensitivity is just so off. You can't fine tune it the way you want to. I literally had to use the physical sensitivity on my mouse to get it just right.
There is awful hit registration in Battlefront CC. Times where I feel like my shots should hit wouldn't, and vice versa.
There was one time I just bulldozed through a bunch of rebels and didn't get hit once. Don't get me wrong, it was totally sick, but just so jarring.
Now, like I said, I don't really have any nostalgia for the classic Battlefront games. I barely played them. I think all in all, I've played the EA games more than the classics, so I was really excited to dive into why people say this is the definitive Star Wars shooter. And I'm left kind of scratching my head because why is this the definitive Star Wars shooter, but not Republic Commando? Republic Commando has way better gameplay, controls, visuals, everything in the kitchen sink.
And you can make the argument that it doesn't hold up as well as it did in 2005, and that's a very fair argument. But it still clears Battlefront CC.
And I cannot believe I'm saying this, but the EA Battlefront games are better than the classics.
What you say is heresy.
It's only 10 gigabytes more. You do get a lot better gameplay and controls. No cutscenes are gonna be missing, and there's another really important reason. Oh yeah, the servers actually fucking work. So my buddy just texted my Discord server that the missing cutscenes are back. And if you want to join the Discord server, link is in the description below. Go check it out. And instead of paying $35 for 2 broken games when you're really only going to be playing one, you can get the EA Battlefront 2 Celebration Edition with all of the DLC and fixins for just $5. $5? That's one of the best deals in gaming, and you can play through Game Pass for free, basically. You just need an EA account. And I think on Steam, sometimes the game will go for free for a weekend. That's a great deal. Okay, yeah, technically the MSRP is $40, but this game goes on sale for just $5 more often than not. And you can basically count on this going on sale for $5 every single May 4th. But even $40 for EA's Battlefront 2 Celebration Edition is a way better deal than the $35 Battlefront Classic Collection.
EA's Battlefront 2 is actually the only shooter I have on my PS5 just because it's probably the only one I'll ever need. I genuinely really like it, but there's definitely some issues with it.
And I don't really know what happened, but when I first bought EA Battlefront 2 Celebration in 2020, it felt really refined and polished. It felt like honestly a great shooter. But now that I'm playing all these years later, it's so glitchy. Enemies and my teammates are popping in and out of the screen from nowhere. It's so hard to get a kill. But what makes it even harder to get a kill is this dog hit registration. And that's on Battlefront Classic Collection too. And I really don't want to harp on how bad the Battlefront Classic Collection is just because that's what everyone else is doing. But before I got to see how bad this game really was, I thought all these videos were bullshit.
Anytime a new game releases that's a mess of glitches or is broken, I'll try it out but not really see that mess. I went into Battlefront CC with a positive mindset, really pumped to play it, but God, this is just so pathetic. And Aspyr does have some pretty good ports under their belt for Star Wars like Republic Commando, KOTOR, The Force Unleashed. This is just so lazy and unlike them. And apparently they launched the wrong version of the game on Steam. How do you do that? This is the worst case of negligence I have ever seen. And apparently they stole work from modders of the original Battlefront games and put it in Battlefront CC without any credit or pay, which is just fucking theft. And notice how during this entire video, I've only talked about the gameplay like twice, and that's because it's not that fun.
It's cool going from land to vehicular combat really smoothly, but it still doesn't feel as smooth as it should from a game from 2005. Hell, Halo CE did it way better.
And I think I've come to the conclusion that the original Battlefront games aren't that good. They were great for their time, but like many games during that time, just didn't age too well. And of course, the original Battlefront games are a huge influence on a lot of other games and have impacted millions of childhoods, so I can't really take that away.
But you know what's crazy? I got all these impressions from Battlefront Classic Collection after only playing for 21 minutes. 21 minutes, and I was bored out of my f***ing mind. And Battlefront 2 EA, I've got 13 hours in. I'm still gonna be playing Battlefront Classic Collection just because I paid for the game. Might as well get my money's worth out of it, even though that's not much at all.
But I don't really want to play this. Not only are there better Star Wars games to play, those games are also cheaper. Hopefully there'll be updates on Battlefront CC to fix the servers and other issues, but as of writing this, nothing. Well, I guess the cutscenes, but I don't have an update downloaded for the game. Didn't see it on Steam either. And one weird thing that was happening as I was getting capture footage, instead of facing the enemy team, I would be facing my team. Like, what the f***? Isn't this like online PvP 101 where you have to face the enemy team and not your own f***ing team? This has got to be the dumbest mistake I have ever seen in a game. I don't know if it was in the originals, but even if it was, that gotta get patched out. That's f***ing stupid.
The servers still need some more work. Enemies are teleporting in and out of the map like in EA's Battlefront 2, but hey, this time you are too. And dude, I get so dizzy when this happens.
Sometimes the match just disconnects out of nowhere, and in that time I've traveled great distances, killed enemies and went to a medical droid, and more often than not, died. But I really hope I'm wrong, and if Cyberpunk can make a full-blown comeback, any game can.
The all-time peak that Battlefront Classic Collection had was 6,000. Meanwhile, as I was getting this capture footage, EA's Battlefront 2 had a peak of 3,000.
How is it that what should be one of the most hype releases for a Star Wars game is beat out by the infamous reboot still? I genuinely don't see any way Aspyr claws their ways out of controversy with Battlefront CC. This is completely tainted.
I just can't get over how lazy this collection is. Nintendo put more thought in the 3D All-Stars Mario collection than Aspyr put in here. Like, yeah, Super Mario 64 was just a plain and simple port, but Sunshine and Galaxy, they fixed the aspect ratio, they changed the resolution, and even in Galaxy, they added new motion controls and touchscreen controls. Yeah, it was kind of necessary to play it on the Switch, but they still did it. Now, Battlefront Classic Collection did get an aspect ratio change for the launcher. I'm not even kidding, it's just the launcher, and then it goes into this old style aspect, like I want to play normal. I want my monitor filled, okay? I want my monitor filled. I'm tired of seeing the black lines, all right? And I can't believe I'm saying this, but there was more thought and energy put into the GTA Definitive Trilogy than there was in the Battlefront Classic Collection. Don't get me wrong, that launched like shit, but there were some updates later on that made it decent. Even when it was kind of shit, I had a little bit of fun with the GTA 3 Definitive, whatever, I don't care. And we have no idea when Aspyr will finally update Battlefront CC to be a really good collection, if they even update it.
And not to mention that Aspyr just did the Tomb Raider trilogy with all kinds of quality of life additions, new textures, control options. Why would you give that to Tomb Raider, but not Star Wars? And they're hoping that Tomb Raider does well so they could remaster more games in the series? I am completely dumbfounded.
And now it's really not as bad as I am making it out to be. There are some good things that BFCC does, like the music.
They played the betrayal heartbreak music from this scene in Revenge of the Sith during a match I had on Kashyyyk, and it just made it so much more memorable. The match just felt so much more important, dramatic, tense, and eerie. It was hard to get it out of my head after playing, and is by far the best time I've had playing Battlefront CC. And I really like how the matches don't just drag on like they do in EA's Battlefront 2. Those matches can last like 40 minutes, and once I hit the 10-minute mark, I am so just mentally checked out. I hope my team loses. Depending on how well a team plays the objective, you can finish a match in like 3 minutes, which is crazy and so nice for my self-diagnosed ADHD riddled brain. They're all just the same basic
Capture the control point.
objectives, which is fine and dandy, but I want more. And I know I should. Especially for a $35 re-release of 2 classic games.
But all in all, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have some fun with this collection. Now the hit registration is still donkey ass, but when you do get a kill, it's sensational. It's too good. It's got all the looks and sounds of Star Wars that all of us Star Wars fans love to point out for some reason.
And if you get a few drinks in your system, you're definitely gonna have a good time. So at the time of recording this, I haven't really dove into the campaign, but I think I'm gonna do it pretty soon. And same with Battlefront 1, I just haven't opened it. But why would I do that when Battlefront 2 is just Battlefront 1 with more content?
And it's such a shame because this is most people's favorite Star Wars game. And I'm wondering, what's your favorite Star Wars game? If you want to see mine, click the video right there.